All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Banners of North America, and we're going to be interviewing Imperium of the Kingdom of Solent. He's come, and we're going to find out all about his clan and what they do and what they like to play, where they're from. So welcome, Imperium. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. For all the viewers out there, you might detect a little bit of an accent. That's because Imperium is from Scotland originally. But he's also involved a little bit with the North American community of Bannerlord. And he's very enthusiastic about Bannerlord, which is nice to see. Is there, what's on your mind?
I think we need a little bit more enthusiasm in Bannerlord, so I think it's a good energy that you're bringing, Mr. Imperium.
Thank you.
We will start, as always, with the context. Background information of Kingdom of Solent, which is shortened to KOSL, by the way. So if we say KOSL, the first thing we want to ask is, of course, why did you form your clan, and when was it formed?
Well, the reason why I formed the clan was, one, originally I had seen a couple years back, actually, it would have been some of the original fighting on Persistent World on YouTube and just some of the larger clans fighting, along with the Napoleonic Wars mod that was on Warbandman, which I've sadly forgotten his name, actually. And that inspired me and kind of just made me think, running a clan on this would be kind of fun. And so when I eventually got my PC a few years later, I ended up buying Bannerlord, and then a bit later on, formed Kingdom of Solent, because one, I was a bit bored on that day and just said, I'm sure it won't be that difficult. That was a mistake. And then this formed.
So that was some years ago. If you're talking about Warband.
Yep.
Right. Or are you talking about Bannerlord or Warband?
Warband. I seen Persistent World videos and just was like, yeah, this is my kind of thing.
Back in the day, when you were playing and you were seeing these videos, was there like a large, consistent community of players, or was it just like a lot of kind of nameless, faceless players that would come and go?
There was a lot of I cannot remember exactly anymore because it was ages ago now, but I do remember some of the clans that you see nowadays were playing. I remember correctly, Hordeland was there, but I might be mistaken.
Okay.
But I do remember some of the clans you see nowadays did play on Persistent World back then, and it was definitely not nameless faces. You could, because I still know some of them nowadays from Hordeland, in particular from my time as a member of Hordeland.
I know a lot of the Bannerlord communities, like especially the in the bigger clans, the leaders that we talk to mention that they've been playing for a long time, or that like they got their start in Warband or Napoleonic Wars or things like this, like sub mods, and it's incredible to see that there's so many ways to get here to where we are from different paths, even though the game as a whole isn't even that big. So, next question, I suppose. How you mentioned that you thought it would be easy to start a clan, and that was a mistake. Do you think that it's gotten easier to lead as you've gone on, that you've learned more, or has the challenge kind of always stayed like a consistent level of stress?
Yes and no. It's definitely gotten easier, because when you first form, the main problem you're going to come across is player attainment, which some of the mods struggle with, and the clans as well.
Mm-hmm.
As trying to keep players on your small clan, I had some guys that joined and were like, we're not going to stay with this clan because they're too small. And my response that simply was, if you leave, it stays small. If you stay, it gets bigger. But people don't seem to see that and just think, okay, it's a small clan now, it'll never get bigger. So over time, what I've noticed is that when you get people that stay, they tend to be quite loyal to the clan. So the people that I have had stay so far, like Hyogunle, one of my leaders for the... I believe I can't actually remember the name of his squad now. That's concerning, actually. All things I should be remembering? That I should be. Yes, he's the commander of the 2nd Squad, the Horned Company. And another good member of my group, Walker, the commander of the 1st Squad, the Wildlings, one of my main infantry squads. And those two make up lower leadership.
I see. So you kind of already giving us a glimpse into the structure of your clan.
Yeah.
Would you say that structure is something that people? Well, actually, let me ask it first. As far as the NA versus EU split, would you say that it's a core of EU players that were there first with NA added on, or has it always been a mix?
It's always been kind of a mix. Because, like, originally, when I initially formed the clan, my first member was Sugar Skies, and they, at the time, they have moved now, used to be in America.
Okay.
So literally, the first day of the clan existing, we were a 50-50 split between EU and NA.
Very nice, very nice.
And over time, it has drifted between global, as for a while, a good friend of mine, Midnight, who is a Turkishman. Very nice guy, one of the best two-hander fighters I've ever seen. Even with bad ping, he can kick ass. And when I say kick ass, I mean I have witnessed him wipe through in a small army. It's horrifying.
We'll
And
have
that
to see
man,
it one
he
day.
never fight him. Especially if he gets a two-hander, don't fight him. He will kick ass. But for a while, we're very much a mixed clan, though. We have people from across the world half the time.
That
And
has
it's
to be
just...
terrible on your ping.
It's honestly not as bad as you think. I play NA as an EU guy, and I get like 190. And I can... Well, think about it. I managed to beat a 2v5 a bunch of NA players.
Well, maybe
In
you're
a
just
2
good
versus
at the
5.
game.
That too.
I can't even do a 1v1 with 50 ping. So maybe you're just good at the game, sir.
I'm definitely not good. I'm good enough to hold on my own bare minimum.
Well, that's good, and I guess that's why people follow you, even.
Yeah.
So moving on a little
My
bit. How would you say you got to where you are? Did you kind of expect to be at this level, or like in terms
I
of growth in numbers and popularity, or perhaps like the amount of games you play, like different Bannerlord types of events you play?
well,
Are you at the spot where you wanted to be, or?
well, I would personally, because I was expecting maybe within the first couple months to only get 3 or 4 dudes in total. We have gained, let me count now real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've gained about 10 people in 3 months, and that was more than double what I was expecting. Not even that, 2 months. It's more than double what I was expecting to get.
We can call
So,
that
in
a
my opinion,
success.
we're growing faster than what I was expecting.
There we go.
And
The
that's what I'm
line
glad
goes
to
up.
be doing.
Line goes up is always good, isn't it?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
now the fun bit being is, as we've got people staying, more and more people are staying as they join. Because they see we're a growing clan that is retaining players, people are realizing, you know what, we should stay. In turn, we've been gaining numbers rapidly. Well, not rapidly, but like, rapidly for a small clan.
Rapidly for a small clan, yes, and I guess it's the community's job to make sure that keeps going, because there is no use in
Yes.
having clans that pop up and disappear. So what we have now, we should try to solidify. Um, and definitely, if you have weird ping, or if you are English or British, or I don't know, any kind of European, to be honest with you, you should join KOSL.
Yeah. Because we are probably, in my opinion, like, we're a light to medium RP, but like, the RP's fully optional, honestly. We don't give two shits. You can do that completely optional. But for certain things, we kind of have a minimum expectancy of it. Like, for, say, ceremonies, it's kind of expected. Because that's something that we want to do kind of more serious on the RP. Is like, important ceremonies, say, when I inevitably decide to crown a successor. Which will not be for a good couple decades,
So
hopefully.
these are like special ceremonies that only happen like maybe
Yeah,
once
special ones.
every couple
So
of weeks.
crowning, say, oh no, it won't be months probably in between, like crowning a new duke
Okay.
or something extremely high ranked. Because the way we're doing it is, we personally have within Solent and our lore, we have an entire map. And in that map, we have our own holds. So like in my case, we have the city of Everwinter. That is the capital of Solent. And when we eventually get our first aristocrat, they will get their own castle or village, depending on what they choose. And then that will be put, when we eventually open our 24/7 battle server, on the map rotation. And so, as you play on that, you can slowly fight through the entirety of Solon's land, going through various lore points, as the current lore for the capital is, at the time the players arrive, it is under raid. And that is what the players are doing. They are defending the village from the raid. As it's a fortified village, essentially.
That's a very cool roleplay system that you have, because it gives the players some kind of attachment, or like something like that. They're sort of, they have a stake in it, you know, like
something to strive for.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that stage, what you do physically affects the lore of Solent permanently. Because even down to, say, what our players do. Because, for example, when you are in charge of a squad, like Goonley or Walker, they get full control over it. They get to choose the squad's banner, the squad's colour, and the name. We allow the squad leaders to do literally whatever they want with their squad. It is their squad. If they want to, say, kick a member out of the squad for not listening to orders effectively, or they're causing problems within the squad, they can just kick them out and they'll get a new member eventually during a promotional ceremony or during a battle. But it changes or as it goes. And I like having the individual bits of the leadership having their own power. Not a lot of power, but enough to do what they need to do.
Of course. Well, we see a lot of times that you'll have clans that give their people lots of ranks and maybe special honors and dignities, and then they won't be actually able to do anything when it comes to the games that they play. It's mostly just like a top-down command, even though it's supposed to be more of a pyramid hierarchical.
Yeah.
So you get useless and therefore dishonorable titles, which is one of my pet peeves.
Like, I'm trying to avoid bloating the hierarchy. What I want to avoid essentially having a hierarchy where it's, I give an order to someone, that guy gives an order to someone, who gives an order to someone, and repeating. So it goes down to the very bottom player who just gets humped everything. Because, like, to avoid that, say, for, like, persistent side, we have doing it very uniquely.
Okay.
For our persistent side, with crafting and armors and that, we have a set uniform for, like, anyone that isn't in a squad gets a set uniform. But the squad members themselves make their own uniforms. And they make that themselves. But say they don't and can't be bothered to make their own uniform, they can just rely off the main uniform. And that main uniform is then made by the quartermaster and his smiths. They only listen to me and I tell them what to make. Unlike the quartermasters, unlike the squads who just make their own gear whenever they want to.
Okay.
That's just up to them to do.
Sounds like you're describing a large clan. There's so many different...
it's kind of ready for when we inevitably hit the stage of large clan. It's the hierarchy systems and the stuff needed are there. It's just we need to get to the stage where they can be fully used.
Planning ahead, that's good.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
While we get toward the other section, I'm going to be pulling up a video that Mr. Imperium has graciously
I'm now
shared with
realizing
us.
the first one has not worked properly, as I think I sent it before the clip had fully thingied onto Google Drive. I'm going to quickly check now and see if it works.
Yeah, I got it. It's 14 minutes. I think I have it.
Let me check. I'll just look. I can do my usual skimming for it. Yes, it is.
Yep, nice. I'm not going to have it audio on.
I recommend it. Yeah, because there's a lot of random blabbering and music spamming in the background, courtesy of me and my very heavy metal taste.
This is a nice little caravan you got going here. But don't let me take you too far away from the conversation.
Oh, it's all right.
What kind of events does your clan mostly like to do?
Well, right now we don't really partake in many events. The ones we have so far have mainly just been stuff that's been organized a day or two before. Like, we've recently, a couple days back, last Wednesday-ish, went on to full invasion free Lord of the Rings on the NATO server. And we, alongside the help of House of Iron, just us alone, no other people were joining us. Just us alone managed to hold about 4 waves before we were completely overrun.
That sounds like
Was
a lot
a
of fun.
very cinematic tower defense where one of us got flung off the top of the tower by a knockdown enemy.
Now that
It was
sounds like
horrifying
fun.
because that man screamed the whole way down.
This is the fun thing about like smaller to medium-sized clans. You can do this kind of thing where you just go and do something spontaneous, and it's almost more authentic in a way, I think.
Because like,
You know,
if you
just like
exist
pure
within our
fun.
group for a bit, you'll. I'm sorry.
You can continue.
Sorry. If you exist within our group for like a bit, or hang around in our VCs, you'll slowly kind of realize how everyone is. Because how small we are at the moment, you can kind of realize everyone has their own unique style of fighting. Because at the moment, since we're so small, most battles we end up going into end up just evolving into one-on-one fights. Either that or 1-1 against 10, which is a lot more horrifying than I'd like to admit. But
doing that on 150 ping.
Oh yeah, it's not fun, but even then I can still hold on my own against other people. Even when outnumbered, I have a very unique tactic of wait till they swing, or if they say they split up, like you're in the middle, they're to the sides. When they try and swing it, you just walk between them. Most people don't expect it. So they miss their swing and then you get a free swing in normally. And so far that's won me multiple 1-on-2s and a couple 1-on-3s.
Yeah, it's like the last thing they expect is for you to walk towards them.
Yeah, no one really expects the outnumbered man to charge.
That's definitely true.
It often works, but it doesn't always work.
And no one expects an entire squad to jump over the wall.
Yeah. That reminds me of an absolutely beautiful thing, which sadly the clip never saved. This was from the 2-on-5 battle against the Exile Baronies. We beat 5 of their members with 2 of ours, and they were their 5 best fighters. Their best fighters essentially beat no, their best fighters lost to one of my best fighters and like a mid fighter, which is me. I'm like in the middle.
Okay.
And they are all EU like me, so it was on even ground as well. They're all EU players, so it was on even ground against me. My ally was Goonly their NA, so he had a bit of advantage there. But they had 4 infantry and an archer. And the way our hold worked on the persistent Bannerlords on the last map for NA, the hold we had Lindau Village. Lovely tavern. Second floor there's a balcony with no railing. You could ride horses off it. You can see where this is going. Me and Goonly both rode our horses off the top, surprising because they really were not expecting it. Getting a couple stabs in, then our horses go down, and then we simply somehow managed to beat them in a 2 versus 5 on foot. For some reason, they all tried to focus on one of us at a time. So we essentially
stab them in the back.
Yeah, all I did was went around onto their flanks and started hitting them. And it caused them to panic more than I think they should have, because they weren't expecting us to just go onto their flank and smack them. They then tried to withdraw, but not withdraw. It was kind of some tried to run, some tried to stay. Their leader, I don't think the way they do their leadership, I have no clue. But like, what I've gathered is they have a very, very low morale from that fight, because most of them started to run the moment one of them died. Because of it, we managed to get them all isolated and just started going at them. And eventually, it was just down to their archer, and well, their archer cannot fight in melee, to say the least.
These sound like new players.
In about a minute, we killed 5 of them. They're not new players. These lot have been playing since Warband, their leadership. Issue being, they're not a nice group. Like, if you actually meet them, they're not a nice group at all. Like, I'm just going to say a little personal thing here from them. They're not a nice group completely. Like, how do I say this nicely? Doxed one of my guys. I'm not going to get into it, but they doxed one of my men. Because they just didn't like how they were.
Are they a European group or a North American group?
Europe.
Ah, okay. So now we're going into uncharted territory.
EU is... Right, let me explain it in Persistent Bannerlord, like, server terms. NA server, RP and nice. EU server, RDM racism.
Oh,
Best way to word it.
I think every NA player would say the complete opposite of what you just said.
Really? Because, like...
Yes,
NA is like really nice compared to EU.
You know, we have a quote in America, and it's that the grass is always greener on the other side, because no matter what you are, people tend to see the negatives of their own local situation more than perhaps the distance.
Yeah, we've had a lot of complaints about bandits and RDMs and all kinds of things.
Yeah,
Oh
And
yeah,
point
the
it's
bandits
slurs
are
and
always the problems,
doxing,
no matter
and
what.
we've had
Oh really?
complaints about some of the same things, some slightly different things. General toxicity that doesn't allow for any kind of
Fun.
large cooperation within the community.
Yeah.
So
now I
Like
have a
my clan, for
question. Do
example.
you usually play? So I guess you play persistent Bannerlord, right? And
Yes,
is
we
that what you're
play
playing? Is that what you
mainly
mostly play?
Bannerlord, but we do also have a small presence on Bannerlord Online, a very small presence.
Oh, cool! I just got into that a little bit.
Yeah, we don't really play often now. Most of our members have switched over to the NA servers to assist House of Iron with the Knights of the Verdant Flame side. So we mainly work on NA now anyway, instead of the EU server, which is also why I haven't switched personally, because I cannot be asked to grind all my shite back.
I also played North American Bannerlord online like 2 weeks ago or so, and I was
You probably have
surprised that it
seen them.
was.
We're in Valandia most of the time.
That's where I was, and then we went to Sturgis.
Sargot?
But
If you come around Sargot or Pravin, one of the two places, that's where the clan
I
hall is.
I thought that it would be dead for sure because it released like years ago. But it's an
No, the
interest.
community's in the thousands.
It's an interesting contract. Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
there's most people aren't playing right now because they're waiting for a very specific update to come out, which adds in the wonderful thing known as actual sieges. And
yeah,
making so
I I've
the
been waiting for
faction,
that forever.
the way it
I
works
was
is you actually join one of the kingdoms. Your clan just works with one of the kingdoms.
I was shocked when I came back to Bannerlord Online and there were no sieges. Like I came back 2 weeks ago. It was released like 3 years ago or something, and they still
Yeah.
don't. But on the other hand, it's impressive that it's still running. After 3 years.
Yeah, that
I
I
did
will
try
personally think it's going to run
Bannerlord
forever.
online once,
Amazing.
and I actually didn't like it, but I don't even remember how long ago it was, so maybe they changed it.
You
I
have
I just always
to.
assumed it was going to be dead forever.
The problem is, uh, you have to actually like single player in order to like the Bannerlord Online experience. Second, you have to be willing to grind for like
God knows how
a
long.
good a good amount of time before you can actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, because
So
like at the start you're like limited to 5 dudes, and like even after a couple hours on my first, like when I first played, it took me a couple hours just to get my party size up to about 30.
Yeah, the
but
fact that you
once
could
you
just get wiped out by bandits is insane too.
once you
Oh
get
yeah,
once
stray
you
too
get
far and you
some
get ganked by about 80.
the only way to really play the game, and really this makes sense, is especially in the beginning, you have to work with other players against the NPC bandits because otherwise you'll get killed. But if you work with other players and you have like a small group or even one other person, then
Yeah, once you get one other person, you can do
it's just
so
so
much.
much fun. You just like grind through and you can be in a voice chat grinding
Yeah,
bandits for
having other
hours.
people with you is so much more fun because you can actually do very fun tactics half the time.
Yeah, like sometimes the AI is so dumb that you can just be like, all right, you take the left, I'll take the right. They'll go in the center, and then we'll come in and like sandwich them.
Mm.
Okay, well, that's cool. I'm glad that because we haven't spoken about Bannerlord Online with any other clan yet, so that's a
Yeah.
first.
We
But
also have a thing I'm going to start to do soon-ish with my clan, which is armor free.
Arma
oh yeah,
3.
I was just about to ask if you played any other games with your clan. So
Yeah,
tell
I'm
us some more
thinking of
about
soon
that.
introducing armor free, as I personally have done Zeus a couple times and I've run a couple of operations on there before. Because then, hopefully next weekend, which reminds me, I still need to finish it. I'm going to be doing a Halo operation with my guys, with the people I normally run on Project Server. Let's look at the name of the server. We are going to be going in. They're going to be an escape pod from a UNSC destroyer, and they are completely cut off. The radio was damaged upon collision, so they're completely cut off. No resupplies or anything on a planet currently under attack by the Covenant, with some minor flood shenanigans later on.
Okay, well, I've never played Arma, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but it sounds like fun.
Well, I think it was.
About 4 months later when I got my own PC.
And I imagine that the console is not as fun as the
Oh, the
PC.
console wasn't as good because battle size is like, I think it's like 200 odd.
It's for me. It's strange to think that there even is a console Bannerlord. Like, I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, it's not that good. It's only worth playing if it's on the Game Pass, essentially. It's not worth just buying. It doesn't even have multiplayer.
It's kind of like when you would play Minecraft on your phone, like the iPhone version of Minecraft instead of playing on your
Oh,
computer.
yeah. Because we also
Like-
dabble occasionally in Space Engineers, too.
The
Space
Pocket
Engineers.
Edition.
That's a pretty
Yep.
famous one.
Yeah, we have the most presence on PvE Paradise, which is actually a PvPvE Paradise, but they just call it PvE Paradise. Planets are PvE zones, but organized fighting is allowed, and anywhere in space is kill on sight. And our goal is to eventually get enough presence on a server to fully take over.
Oh, fully take over.
Yep, fully take over a server.
Interesting.
Because we know once we get to that stage, we know the admins will because last time a group took over the server, I believe, the admins hosted an event where the admins get every group together, and if that group, say, has blueprints for ships, they will spawn that group's blueprints in. And then a giant combined fleet goes up against the people trying to control the server. So that fleet, I think it was about a 15-man group up against about 40 players. They won barely. All that survived, I think, from their fleet was a highly crippled dreadnought. And I think a couple fighters left. That was all that survived from, I think, they're about 15-ship fleet. No, because they had, I think it was a battleship, about 5 cruisers, 2 destroyers, and 1 or 2 carriers. Not much survived. Both sides either. Both sides took heavy casualties. Because, like, for example, my ship designs are horrific. Like, I cannot design shite. That's me good English there. I cannot design ships for shite. And, like, most of my designs come out as either cube or rectangle. But other than that, though, like, some of my ships are very unique in how they look. For example, what's a good one? Like, the Cerberus class light, what was the full designation for that one? Cerberus class light Cerberus class light scout carrier. Can only fit 8 fighters inside her. But the guns on it were stupid, and it's just a flying, like, cube with wings.
How big is your clan? Because it sounds like you need a lot of people to do a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Well, like, active players, we can normally average 2. On a banner call, we can get up to about 6 or 7 out of our 15.
Do you ever
Okay.
get all 15 together for some
No,
like
as
holidays?
some people that, like, on holidays, yeah, we can. It's just, like, one of our members, for example, is a close friend of mine. And they're planning on buying Bannerlord soon, and they said they'd join, so I add them into the clan early.
Okay.
So yeah, hold on, I have a quick phone call I need to answer. I will be back in a minute or 2.
All right. So, good conversation so far.
While we're waiting, let me just ask you, what was it about Bannerlord Online that you didn't like?
Well,
Apologies.
you essentially you get into it, and it's like, I don't know, it's just too slow compared to like actual single player, which is what I was coming from. I was like, oh, you can have Bannerlord, but online, that's great. But it took 3 hours to get nowhere, and then I was like, I hate this game, so I never went back.
Default reaction.
Default reaction.
Roughly.
Now, Imperium is back, so I will move on to the next section. But first, I want to kind of ask, like, the usual question that I ask is like, what, like, how does your clan interact with other clans in the NA community? I wanted to change that question up just a little bit because originally, Chris Iron was supposed to come on here from House of Iron, and he couldn't make it today. He's going to come on eventually, but I wanted to ask like about what inspired your working so closely with House of Iron, because you mentioned it already with the embers, the verdant thing.
Knights of the
and
Verdant Flame.
Knights of the Verdant Flame, yes. And I wanted to know how you got to that point and what kind of other interactions you do with other clans, if there are any.
Okay. Well, essentially, it was kind of a spontaneous decision out of just reason of, okay, we can't both individually hold a proper sized hold. So we thought, okay, what if we just do a temporary bunking just for this run through of the server? We just both temporarily live together under my group's name. Then we realized, wait, what if we just do it on a long-term basis, in turn giving both clans extra manpower, and essentially the ability to actually play for proper sized holds. And so we ended up talking with it. It took about 5 days or so and a lot of banner iterations, and we came to how it is now.
So you combined banners in order to like sort
kind
weld
of,
the...
yes. They had a bear for their banner, and we have a lion. So, like, for example, the actual banner itself is now a blue and green, with on the green segments is my clan's lion, on the blue segments their clan's bear, to kind of show our unity, essentially. How we're willing to
sounds like
put
a cool
our
banner.
own personal insignia on the other faction. Which can also sound like we're trying to insult each other at the same time, but
Or
we mean it in a unique kind of way.
allowing the other clan's insignia on your faction.
Yeah.
Is a better way to put it.
Yes. Yeah,
So
actually, that is a much better way. And then with other
that's
clans,
a funny way of
diplomacy,
putting it.
not much really. It's more just a quick talk with the leader saying, "Hey, can we have a non-aggression pact?" And that's it. That's all we really did with diplomacy with other factions.
Okay.
And occasionally mercenary work, because we were part of some of the big sieges on NA, like within the first couple of days, the big siege on Skillage, and the various sieges on Gondor.
Yes, yes.
We were
That was
always on
very
the
famous.
defending side, though, and we won every single time.
Every single time.
I actually was one of the people that witnessed Leicester's Leap as well.
Leicester.
And when I say witnessed it, I mean... Oh, if you've not seen Leicester's Leap, hold on, you must put it on for people to watch. It is a... It's a music video at this point, but like the little bit... so essentially...
I believe that we have shown it before during Lester's
Yeah,
episode.
you
He
might
was
have.
the first guest on.
Ah. But yeah, he led 30 odd of his men off the walls of Gondor into the courtyard. Amazing thing. So where that thing is across from it's a balcony with a wood walkway. If you look at the video, the actual from the Leicester's Leap music video, you can actually see me running across the balcony going to deal with the people jumping down. Since you can't hear the audio, you wouldn't have heard my panic yelling of "Holy shit, they're jumping from the walls!"
Which side were you fighting on?
I was fighting with Gondor for that battle.
Oh, I was fighting against you in that one.
You know, I actually...
really? Who were you with?
In the first video
I was
that
with
you
Les.
sent... Yeah, he's in VK.
I'm part of VK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I fight in
Go
KOTF,
fuck
right?
yourself.
We were in that battle too.
What?
And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
people talking about like, why are there people jumping off of the walls? Like, I didn't know, I didn't see them, I didn't know what was going on, but I heard about it, and I was like, whatever's doing that is stupid. And then...
Yeah.
Just for the
I'm just
record,
gonna say
I
this.
was...
I have a personal grudge against VK due to a highly illegal raid they did, which was getting one of the men trapped inside, claiming he couldn't leave when the gate was wide open. And legit, they just walked in and started killing everyone, claiming the guy couldn't leave.
LOL. Okay, so before we move to this next section, I will note that your first video that you sent has at the 13-minute mark my first time in PB trying to set my name. Yeah. It's the stream can see it right now, but at 13 minutes and 1 second, there is a picture of me in the chat trying to set my name.
Yeah, I don't know what... Oh, you put a space at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it was the slash and not an exclamation. But I'm showing the second video now. Okay, so as for this next section, you mentioned how it was just like a brief conversation between you and Chris Iron, mutually beneficial situation as far as taking and holding, and you eventually just combined your clans for the purpose of force projection. Pretty good answer.
Yes.
And as far as other clans, you kind of just have various non-aggression pacts, if anything at all. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's literally all that is. There's non-aggression packs with the occasional trade deal. Like for VMC originally, the way my clan got a hold of Lindau was by buying it off VMC for 60,000 dinars in an installment of 30,000, and then about an hour later, another installment of 30,000.
That's incredible. So you have like very high level surfers and crafters, yes?
Not really. The way it kind of works is, House of Iron is the industrial backbone of the Verdant Flame, and my group act as essentially its sword. As House of Iron is mainly skilled craftsmen, and my group are just a mix of good to decent fighters.
You know, FMGK
We don't really like crafting.
in his episode on here said that in order to be successful in games like PB, you have to have, you know, the people who are willing to fight, people willing to craft and surf, and they have to work together. And it seems like that's what you have. So no doubt as to why, or no question as to why you're very successful, and you play a lot of games as you just listed.
Yeah, we try to spend like quite a broad. Like for example, what's something like with armor, for example, that one's kind of more easy to do because I can organize that weeks in advance. Compared to Bannerlord, which normally fights just happen sporadically. You can't really organize as well. People do still organize them, just not as well. And then for like Bannerlord modding, so like occasionally we're on Full Invasion. Thinking of looking at some of the muskets. Not sure which one yet, but thinking of having a little appearance on there for a bit.
We played a musket event earlier today. I think it could have been better, but there is a lot of merit to kind of switching it up a little bit, like taking the crossbow mechanics and like making a whole different mod and a new realm style of fighting around it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Because like another thing I want to get my group into as well are other more fighting style games that need group play, like Foxhole, which I also run a regiment on there, the Argyles. Whole separate story on that one.
Do you ever play Paradox games? Like get all your guys in like a CK3, Hearts of Iron?
That I don't own any of those two.
Real like Stellaris or anything like that?
I own Stellaris, yes. Oh, that's an idea. Thank you. I might do that soon.
Okay, well, why don't you get some boys and I'll get some of my friends and we'll do a big Stellaris game. We'll stream it. How about that?
Hell yeah. I also totally
it'll be
won't
my
pull out
first.
some of my very good friends that are very good at Stellaris, like play an ungodly amount as well.
Well, it'll be my third game, my first like big game, but it'll be my third game of Stellaris. So hopefully you don't gank me.
I'm gonna pull
right
out 4 of
away.
my friends that have 1,000+ hours each.
How many people can you fit into a Stellaris lobby? Do you know?
I think it's like 8, maybe.
8. Okay. We had a
Oh, wait,
a
how?
9-person CK3 game yesterday on stream.
Oh,
It was
Jesus.
fantastic. It lasted 5 hours.
Holy hell.
Yes. Anyway, back to the Bannerlord discussion.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why we're talking about Bannerlord, but what would you say is Kingdom of Sauron's greatest achievement? Like of all the things you've done, apparently you and your guys have been around for a long time. So in all that time until now, what would you say is the thing you're most proud of? Or if you would like the community to remember one thing from your clan, what would it be?
The fact we have managed to bully the bullies off a server.
Ooh, is this
The Clan
a
Exile.
continuing goal or is this like a particular story?
Already particular stories. So back to the Clan Exile who doxed one of my members. Essentially, long story short, they doxed my members' NSFW's Twitters, trying to make fun of them. In turn, getting them banned. Don't ask, long story. The admins really fumbled that one, considering one of the server rules is no posting NSFW. But don't ask, it's annoying. But essentially, they then were using it as a way to permanently try and cripple me and never get my clan to grow on the server, ever. And it worked for the first while, until I would get occasionally the odd member that was extremely loyal and just did not give two shits about what they were doing. And because of it, they slowly realized, okay, we really need to step up to the point of breaking rules and the admins turning a blind eye. It's on EU server mainly. They do not turn a blind eye on the NA server, I know that. Oh, they do not on the NA. But on the EU server, the admins were turning a blind eye to what was happening, allowing it to happen, due to the fact that they were an old clan. They formed when Persistent Bannerlord started. And I have been playing Persistent Bannerlord since day one. And I've helped the admins do so much. But, oh well. And they have been effectively trying to bully my faction off the server for about 3 months. And then when we switched to NA, they kept trying to do the same thing, breaking a big-ass rule of breaking down the door illegally, then training into the faction, and then renaming it as theirs, then kicking us out when we joined in. So what we did was, we said, okay, fine. We instead went over to the empty factions that existed and just trained into the empty one that didn't have a hold, bought the hold off VMC, and then continued there. It was fine for a couple of days, nothing happens. Then EXP decides to try and camp outside, and then our glorious 2 versus 5 happens. They never logged on since. They left right after it. Definitely wasn't the fact that they also heard me talking to Gondor and Gondor laughing at them. But one of the biggest clans witnessed their major defeat. Their best fighters losing to one of my best and a mid-tier.
What clan
And they
was
never
this?
played the Exiled Baronies, EXB.
So this specific clan was harassing your clan?
Yes.
And this
Seems
was like
like a pretty
in
common-
server and out of server harassment, so it's probably
In server, yeah. The other thing they did was they went straight onto my clan's Discord and posted NSFW, which is one against my own clan's rules, but also against the server rules.
Isn't that also against
So obviously
the
I
law?
delete them and ban them.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that
it's
too, because my
illegal.
server's like 90% minors as well.
Yeah, you have to have a NSFW channel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you do. We don't have one. Which also got the server taken down off Discord as well.
They got your server deleted, like your clan
No, they
server?
tried. They could have. If they wanted to, they could have. But then I think Discord would realize, wait a minute, they're reporting themselves for doing it.
Oh,
You see the problem?
yeah, I would see that.
Discord
problem.
kind of would have realized this is intentional. But yeah, I think
So-
the guy that did it actually has been banned off Discord because of other reasons. Which
yeah,
is very
I mean,
funny.
the type of person to do that probably isn't going to stop there, is he?
Yeah, but oh crap, I forgot what I was gonna say now.
We were talking about your greatest achievement.
Yeah, that I was trying to remember the bit I was gonna say now. At some point, essentially, because of that, they kind of just completely gave up now. Like, I haven't seen any of them even play Persistent anymore. Like, they've just fully left Persistent because of what happened after that defeat. They just fully left.
Have you seen
I
them
went to the
playing,
NAs.
other types of events for Bannerlord
Nope.
multiplayer?
Only one I've seen them is the actual leader for the whole clan, not the PB side.
We don't have to say his name.
Yeah. They played on Karatic Conquest. And the guy
Oh.
seen me and actually apologized, I think. Even though he was mocking me, but I don't know. He tried to apologize. I don't know if it was him being mocking way or an intentional way, but I really could give less of a shit. But the fact that a clan that was actively trying to bully a clan off the server, getting themselves bullied off a server, I find that a comedic victory. And the fact most of the Persistent Bannerlord NA community found out about how they lost, made them kind of just leave. And they
a
have just
morale
not
victory.
touched Persistent. Because even on the EU server, I went to the EU server on the launch date, they played for half an hour and haven't logged on since. I've never seen them log on even once. In the past week it's been up.
Well, damn.
So
And they know I play on there as well.
the defeat was so humiliating that they just couldn't show their faces afterwards.
Anywhere. And it's amazing.
So we'll move on now to the
Yeah.
personal and team motivations, like what drives you to keep doing what you're doing. So we'll have Warband take us through that.
Oh.
All right. So well, we kind of just went over this, to be honest, but when things are not going well with your clan, like when something like this happens, what do you do to try to keep your clan members
Well,
to
the thing is,
not leave?
I simply do it this way. If they know what's happened, I'm very fluid with it. As long as the person that it's happened to is okay with it being fluid, which they were. We literally just told everyone what happened, and if they wanted to stay, they could stay. I literally gave it their choice. And most of my members decided to stay. They were just like, that's a dick move from them. And Muslim just couldn't give less of a shit about that member's NSFW side. They just didn't give a shit. So the one, literally almost everyone stayed. A couple left, but most stayed. One actually joined DXB, who made a great mistake doing that, as now literally every main clan on Persistent knows that they will leave if someone else's clan lines up with their ideology. And they're realizing, okay, that's a bad member, so if they eventually get kicked from EXP, they will never be let into another clan.
Ooh.
It's because they literally swap sides at the slightest sign of someone that doesn't, like, fit with them.
As far as your
And they just left.
as a player yourself, you are a leader, but also as an individual player, what kind of keeps you going, like logging in every day, even if it's like not as fun as it was yesterday?
A crippling addiction to Persistent. Literally it. I haven't. Literally, it is one of the few games I could play for an entire day, no break. With most games I enjoy, like Space Engineers, after an hour or two I'll go get a drink. I could completely abandon any important bodily needs to actually function just to play Persistent for the whole day.
Get your
There was
water
actually a day
bottle.
where I cancelled plans just to play Persistent. I deeply regret doing that still, and I still apologise to my friend for doing that, but it's one of the few mods or thing overall that has ever done that to me.
Huh.
And other than that, it's the fact of one, seeing my clan slowly grow is just really nice.
Well, let's get into that. What are your overall goals for your clan? What are you leading them towards? I guess you're trying to grow the clan, right?
The goal of the clan is to eventually be large enough to try and straight up take over an entire Persistent server.
You
Let me
want
explain.
Empire. He's thirsty for Empire, fellas.
Yes. Essentially, the goal is, on like Persistent EU, you're allowed to have as many holds as you want. Most clans give holds back. My goal is to try and capture every single hold. And that is my greatest, that's my final goal. If I do that, I can die happy.
Sounds like
That's
your
always been my
life.
goal in any game, is just to take over an entire server. Minecraft, tried that once, most succeeded. Almost. Got betrayed by one of my own guys and just chaos happened after that. For example, I play some Roblox games. There's a Pacific One Navy Simulator. That game, the fucking Navy group is a fucking load of dicks. Because, like, legit, I'm on their Discord. I'm slowly receiving promotions by doing nothing. I joined the group as a sergeant. Oh, God. Sorry, there's a bunch of people from a lot are just watching me, and that concerns me. Good to know y'all are here. Oh, yep, there's guys. Yep, they're here.
Oh yeah, we have the commenter saying. I guess we'll enter some of these comments. Jen Pin says, just to state that the
Oh, there's two.
EXP clan still exists. This guy, I think referring to Imperium, is chatting shite. They average around 15 members on the KTE Sunday and Thursday event. So
You
Is
know
that
what
guy
I was
also
talking
s-
about. I know they're still active on other places, but on Persistent Bannerlord, I mean, they don't play. They left after that.
and you
Is
don't see
that
them
guy
on
from
any other
Scotland?
persistence, or do you not play them?
Well, on the ones that are up, I've never seen them on any other ones.
Okay.
Is that a Scottish clan as well? Because I saw the way he spelled that word.
Yeah.
Chatting shite.
I don't know.
I love. We have to do a cultural episode one of these days and just talk
I
about
don't know what they're
like
doing. Like,
all the different types of peoples that are here. Not in like a weird way. Like 'cause we have so many. I've met Romanians. I've met Irish. I've met all different types of Americans. You'll never guess how many different types of just Americans there are. People from not a lot of East Asians play this game for some reason. Uh, some Russians too.
I think they do, but they're just not completely. It's just like separate, you
Well,
know.
yeah,
from
I
what
guess to
I've
be
gathered
fair,
so
like I
far,
can't really understand their language, so I don't know where they are and where they aren't.
but, well, the server I'm planning on grabbing my clan, dragging my clan onto is called Warbandman, and that is definitely mainly East Asians, but a lot of them speak very good English. So they just speak really good English, so I'm thinking of just bringing my clan over there, even though, like, we have the issue of known as, heavy ping.
Yeah,
Oh,
ping
I
differences
understand.
are a big
Even
killer
with the
of
ping
fun
difference.
nowadays.
Yeah, but even with the ping difference, we could still fight quite well.
So you're just gonna move on to the Chinese server indefinitely.
Indefinitely. Now,
Not indefinitely. No. We're still playing on PB. PB's not up for the moment.
oh, it's
Server's
true.
been down for the past week and a bit. We're just waiting. So while we wait, we're hopping on here.
As far as
There's
like,
also another big one, which has already been had a little shout out there. If you look in the chat, they've already mentioned it. So I assume I'm allowed to talk about it.
yes,
Wasn't sure if I was allowed
this
to,
is an
but
open forum.
since it is,
We don't have any restricted topics.
yeah. So, but no, it's more if they didn't want me to talk about it, because in the fact they're shouting it out, I think it's allowed.
Okay.
When that goes up, I am yoinking my clan straight onto there faster than anyone else can.
Oh, is this the banner bound?
Yeah, Bannerbound.
What's that about?
Kind of right. I'm still trying to understand it myself fully.
Okay.
It's one map, kind of. Literally, it'll be one map for basically the entire run through. Like, this one map could stay on for years. And the way it works is it's text-only RP. Proper RP. But not like there's an RP server a while back that was really dumb on the rule set. Like, if you died, you had slow movement for 16 hours. Unless someone healed you. It was weird. But the way it works is clans start off with basically... Okay, never mind. I've probably got a massive thing to read. Bannerbound is a text-based roleplay server that runs on Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Everything from history to politics is shaped by the players. My voice just cracked. You create a character, tell the story, play it as part in a living world that changes as you do. And for example, a good bit of change is... let's see, what's a good example? If you die, there's two types of death. Player kill and character kill. You die as a player. Like, you just die as a player. Like, during big server wars, you just die as a player. But say during, like, an assassination, that's that character killed permanently, new character. So, like, say someone tries to assassinate me and they succeed, the king is dead, a new king will have to be crowned.
That sounds like fun. Or is that the East Asian, or is it...
No, that's one that's getting made now. They're in the middle of coding.
What does it mean by text-based?
There's no voice chat. No local voice.
Okay.
It's more for like but like, it's not serious RP, but it's going to be very different. Like, it's going to build off a lot of the PB systems. So, like, for example, a good PB system are the building. They're also adding in mechanics for village expansion and building whole new villages as the map goes on.
Is it going to be an EU mod, or is it going to be...
I actually do not know that myself.
I would assume it would be a North American mod, but...
I don't know.
Sounds like there's a lot of different mods being worked on.
Yes.
Yeah,
and,
it's got a really sizable dedicated team behind it too. There's like, I think 6, 7 of them.
You mentioned that you planned to do a consistent server that like to host. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, our own battle server.
Yes.
Yeah, once I get it all set up, because I would personally host it, but due to the business Wi-Fi, best way of wording it.
Okay.
For some reason the Wi-Fi
McDonald's
plans, it's a
Wi-Fi,
business
we call it in
Wi-Fi.
America.
Essentially, we cannot have it. You can't have an open port as a business Wi-Fi. You need an open port to host a server. So I'm unable to sadly host the server myself.
Okay.
So either one of my other group members will, or I'll just pay for a server host. And it will essentially host the server for us for like, I don't know how much money, but it'll run any of the lore maps. So like, Everwinter, the capital, or whatchamacallit, or whatever end up map gets made, because the only one that exists right now is Everwinter, officially. We do have some other ones, but they're not fully finished. The only finished one is Everwinter. And the way it's going to work is, as the clan gets larger, the map will expand. So right now, it's starting as a small village with a small fortified palisade in the corner.
Okay.
Then, when we reach about 20 member size, I'm going to up it to instead of a wood palisade wall, actual wood walls. And a slightly bigger keep. Then when we reach about 30, even bigger, eventually reaching stone. The goal is this. I want it to eventually look like Minisifal, with the multiple tiers of the city, with a capture point on each tier, and because there's 7 flags, you can put max 7 layers, with the final big capture point being the final point you reach on the top layer, probably within the throne room.
That's a reference to Lord of the Rings, right?
Yep, Minisifal itself. I'm basically going to be copying the layer system it has because I absolutely love that.
Do you often play with Gondor?
We
Because you
only really
mentioned
join the
Lord of the Rings.
battles. Only during some battles, like for all of the big sieges against them, we were on their side. Like for example, during the first siege, I was there when the siege tower managed to make it, and the only time it ever made it, I was there. Me and Goonley were actually at the base of it. And holy hell, that was pure chaos. They got swept up quick, because those guns are good, but like... It was really fun, honestly.
So I guess you don't really play on the side of VK very often. Based on
Well, because during that it was the Crusader fights and that. We weren't invited to join the Crusader side, and we wanted to get involved, so we just joined the people that were getting attacked. Who were happy to accept more people.
Oh yeah, when you're thirsty for a good fight, you know, every fight is profit, right?
Oh yeah, we walked out of there with full tier 6 plate one of the battles.
Full tier 6. Oh, I
They
mean,
probably
well,
took
you have a
it-
small
took it-
squad,
took
so
it
you
up
were
from
able
me.
to get everyone kitted out, right?
Yep. Yeah, we could.
That's
From
honestly,
one
like,
fight,
logistically,
all their plate.
doing logistics in these big servers is like hard. I'll say that.
Oh,
for-
yeah. I'm just glad you don't have to have bloody supply convoys yet. The map ain't big enough to have to actually bring food with you for long distance moving.
It should
Once
be.
the map gets that big, I'm more concerned.
It should. Well, I actually like the idea of a big map because if you're actually supposed to be on there for a long time, it helps if you haven't seen and walked past every square inch of it 30 times by the time you know you have your third day. Because like
Yeah, but the
after
issue
a
being...
while, it does get so repetitive, maybe annoying a little bit, at least in my experience, watching and hearing about it. I don't hate the fact that the maps are like small. There's a lot of issues that a lot of people have with the PB, but everyone loves it overall. I think I'm just saying, like, I would like it to be bigger. I think logistics is important, and you can't train it
Yeah,
doing
but
a small
like,
map.
I'm now going to quickly drop a bit of technical problem with that.
Okay, okay.
As a person that's done a bit of map making, if the way you do that is you expand the map squares,
Okay.
if you even expand it by 1 square in any direction, the mod kit has a very high habit of just randomly crashing after you've done that. Just a very high habit of just random crashes once you've done it.
I see.
It just makes the modding kit very unstable, and the bigger the map gets, the more unstable it gets.
So it's more of a performance issue than a
Yeah,
preference?
as well. If you look at the maps, the reason why they're so small is if you look everywhere, you can find detailing everywhere because they're small. And just having everything quite compact, because it's small, you can have the detailing. But if it expands any larger, you physically cannot put the detailing in because it will just cause so much lag on the server.
You could always have like detailed areas and then some areas that are just like
Yeah.
grass.
True.
It would work, but at the same time, doing it that way also means there's less just overall look. It's the main reason why they do it small is just that one. It means the battles happen more often because everyone's near each other. There's a high chance of a halt happening and then an entire army rocking out of a castle.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, you can't really go anywhere on the roads without like running into the middle of someone else's like territory where they can just like shoot at you if they want. I think there should be some maybe roadways where it's like you can't put 3 people there and block off the entire system. But maybe that's a conversation for another day because there is actually a conversation soon to be planned, talking about all things PB and the issues people have with it and like the insights that you know can be cleared up. For now, though,
Yeah.
let's see. Warband, were you done asking all the questions you were going to ask, or did you have any more?
Well, the last one was what projects is your is your clan working on? And I think you already mentioned probably the project that you're working on, which was the server. So unless you have anything else.
Well, only real project, if anything, might just be all of the custom holds. That's really it. And I guess the space engineers stuff when I get that set up and running properly. Because I absolutely want to drag a bunch of my guys onto space engineers and try and take the server over. Issue being with taking over a server, though, is you have to fight, like, so many different groups.
True, yeah. Or you can work with them. I mean, diplomacy. You've kind of
Yeah.
proved how diplomacy can be very helpful, especially to small clans. We've had people
Hmm.
like even middle-ish clans like Seoul. They do a lot of diplomacy. I think they were in the triarchy. Um, and
Yeah, they were.
also you had
Messed it up.
Jado. Is it called? Yeah, I think it
Oh,
was
yeah,
Jado.
Jado, the Mordor lot.
Jom Ta NATO. So it's
NATO
diplomacy
split
is a
off.
lot more prolific than it looks like on the surface. It's
Hmm.
pretty cool. That's what we like to see.
Yeah.
So moving into the next section here, I will start by asking you. Uh, so this is a question meant particularly for the NA community, but we can have a second part with EU, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about the EU community in this aspect. But
Okay.
how do you think the NA community can be improved and extended into the people who only play single player?
Well, right. That is a very difficult topic just due to how persistent style mods are.
Do
Because,
you
like,
think
persistent style.
would you say that that there's a benefit in more people just playing anything multiplayer in general? I
Yes,
think that
actually,
there's a
because
lot of people playing single player, but we were talking about before the show started how some people are coming from the persistence. Some people are only like I was only ever doing the events that were hosted by teams, like the HRBH event, Atria event, all the ones like
Bree.
that, Bree especially. And then there's other people who come into it just from playing other games, and they're like, "Hey, do you have Bannerlord too?" And they're like, "Yeah," and then you just hop in the clan from there. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways to get into Bannerlord, but how do you think that NA can be fixed or at least altered in a way that it makes it interesting for the single player only guys to want to come in and try it out and see what we have?
One, make sure more people know multiplayer even exists.
True,
As most people don't even know multiplayer exists, which I find very concerning.
me too.
So one, get more attention to it even existing. And I think with because the community is good. Like, it's a good community. And most of the time, it's good. Like, there's no problems. Occasionally there can be, but
That's a new perspective.
What we usually see is that like within clans, it's always good and nice, and then once clans start interacting with each other, it gets toxic.
it
Well,
can
that's
be. I
not.
try my
Lomia,
best.
that's not even true because remember the whole Atria thing and all
Well,
of the.
yeah, that's true. There's more whenever you hear about toxicity or conflicts, it's most of the time within different groups, even if they're in the same clan like Atria, which is like a collection of clans. It's usually across different groups rather than within the same, unless it's like an IRL personal issue, which you can't really I wouldn't really count that as like a Bannerlord community issue if it's personal stuff.
Yeah.
But do you agree with that, Warband? Do you have a different perspective?
Uh,
Really? Oh wait, sorry.
the perspective that the Bannerlord community is like good overall.
Overall
Or
within clans, and then once you get once you start getting outside of your own clan, the potential for conflict starts going up.
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, obviously it depends on the situation, but
Hmm.
uh, and also what are we comparing? Like what's the baseline that we're comparing to? Like, are we comparing to other game communities?
That's a good
Because
point.
like
God, that could end horribly.
So Imperium, would you say? Oh, so as far as the EU thing, just so we don't get too far away from it, how would you say the EU community is as far as like toxicity? Would you say it's kind of like how I described just now, or would you
At
give it a
times,
different?
it's fine. It's like best way of wording it is, it's fine 1 minute, then it's a toxic cesspool the next minute, and it's fine again a few minutes later. which was also mainly caused by admins turning blind eyes to clans doing certain things and other stuff like that. With just general admin ignorance, them not listening to the server's own rules and instead doing it based on personal preference. Stuff like that causes problems.
Would you say that there are a lot of admins in the EU community? Because I think there's a lot of potential in NA for stuff to be better, but nobody ever volunteers for stuff. In EU, is
Well,
there just not admins, or are there a
EU,
lot of
there's admins.
admins?
There's about 5 of them total, but most of them do personal preference when doing the rules.
Okay, so it's more of a
Or,
corruption
for
thing.
example, yeah, because some of, like, for example, the head admin, last time I checked, was part of Lorraine. And admins aren't supposed to be part of clans, although they can be, but not high members. And I think he's a marshal, which is a very high member within Lorraine. And I believe he got that rank within a day or two of being in the group.
Well, okay, so do you have any other ideas for maybe conversion of the single players into the multiplayers? Do you think that, because a lot of people say content, right? As long as you just make content, single player people are looking at Bannerlord content. If you make more multiplayer, they might be more interested. But outside of that, is there anything that you've tried or you've seen someone try or talk about?
Not really.
Okay. Well, that's useful information to know just by itself. Um, Last question of this section, and then we'll start maybe closing if we don't have much more to say. The last question I have for you: KOSL's final message to the new players, the average players, and the fellow clan leaders that you have. We'll keep it to NA for now. So,
Okay.
what is your advice to first the new players that are picking up Bannerlord multiplayer?
Start with base game vanilla. But, like, right, the best way to describe it would be just, like, start with base game vanilla. And if you don't end up enjoying that, then begin to look at multiplayer modding. And then try them. And if you end up not enjoying either, well, you're buggered. Because, like, multiplayer as a whole is most of the time just very good players shitting on all the shitty players. Best way to word it. Because I will join a, say, siege at like 70 players out of the usual 120. And out of those 70, about 5 or 6 of them will be new players, and the rest will be Warband players.
Okay.
And then I will proceed to absolutely get slaughtered multiple times before I even get an assist. Just due to
Yeah,
the fact
that can happen.
that's how it tends to happen due to the fact there's no way of like saying, hey, this is a beginner server, and there's no way of like making it so only beginners can go into that server or something
You mean like
that.
a ranking system?
It would be nice to have it. Or
They
have
basically they tried to do that, but they basically failed to. Like the ranking system, matchmaking has been broken, but
yeah, like
some clans have their own matchmaking bots. Like VK has its own matchmaking bot, and there's some groups, multiplayer groups that try to do it, but really it should be something that's in the base game.
Yeah, like what I mean is like they add in a simple thing that monitors what your average kill it, like your average KD and your time played. So like say you have 2 hours in multiplayer and your average KD is say 0.50. No, 50 that would be just 0.5. It will let you into the beginner servers. So, but let's say once you hit like the 15-hour mark and your KD starting to average like 0.75, then it doesn't let you back into the beginner-only servers.
Oh.
Even if your KD drops below that, you've already hit the time cutoff.
Makes sense.
But it's only based on your multiplayer times. I know it saves your multiplayer time. No, your single player.
So that's a good idea.
Well, yeah, they try to do that within the multiplayer community and the reason why they do it within the multiplayer community is because it's something that was supposed to be done by Tail Worlds, but
it didn't happen.
They basically did it. It worked for a while, then they broke it, and they never fixed it. So it's unfortunate. But sad but true.
Yeah. But it would also help with new players entering, you know, multiplayer, because new players just join the server and then just get repeatedly killed. Because most of them don't know how to do anything. Because, like, when you're new, you don't understand what, like, feinting is and all that, and
True.
how to kick, unless you figured that out in single player. But you don't really need kicks in single player is the problem. Most of the time, at
Yeah,
least.
most of the time.
Let's get that one bloody stubborn noble that refuses to stop blocking.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had that a couple times. I have a very weird play style in Bannerlord single player, but that's irrelevant. So
Yeah.
your message, that was your message to the new players to Bannerlord multiplayer. What is your message to the average player, the average guy that goes into the persistent servers or plays these events or anything like that? What is your advice, or what did you have to say to them, the average guy?
If you like playing solo, join one of the public solo clans, if that makes sense. Because, like, for example, on EU, there's the Peasant King, kind of the actual name of the clan, and it's just an open public faction for making sure the food places are stocked at all times. Or joining, say, High Shop,
That's
or
hilarious.
Town Watch if you want to do fighting.
Town
Or if you're, like,
Watch.
someone that's interested in, say, the fighting more but doesn't want to play solo, so then look at the clans and find a clan that you personally just suits you. Like, they have your similar play style, or if say you're a highly aggressive play style, then you find a clan that fights in a highly aggressive manner, you know, constantly pushing, no retreating, and just, you know, charge.
F1, F3.
Just,
Sounds
yeah,
a
literally,
little
yeah.
bit
We've
like
all heard
PK.
that command, F1, F3.
Or if
Yep.
you like jumping over walls, you could join VK.
Do they have very
Yeah,
strong legs over in VK? Is that like
you're sure. Look, a lot of you just buggered your ankles on that fall.
oh well, that's true. A lot of them need wheelchairs now. So now to your fellow NA clan leaders, what would be your message to them?
Make sure your members aren't being dicks to others for the love of everything. That's literally it. Because I've
Okay.
had some problems with players that don't listen to their clan leaders and stuff like that, and are just causing problems around on the server.
Of course. Now, how I'll
Like,
ask you this: how do you personally make sure that your members aren't being dicks?
one, with how the Discord is, we normally have well, the goal is to have an ambassador from every clan. And simply that ambassador just has to say, hey, blah's causing problems, they're not listening to non-aggression packs, something like that, or they're harassing serfs or verbally insulting people and just causing problems. That'll be met with either, firstly, a warning saying, hey, stop, or we'll either demote you, or if you hold a position of power, we'll revoke said power, something like that. And if they do it, we will then just do it. You'll lose your position, you'll lose your power or a demotion. Or if you're a new player that's like, you've just been brought into the group and it's been like its second day, you're not yet gained a rank, it's just causing problems, it's just a kick. And it's just, we're not slacking on it, we're gonna, once you realize, okay, this place runs on zero tolerance policy. If I fuck about too much, I am going to get punished for it. But if I don't, I'm gonna get nothing. Or at least eventually a promotion if you, like, you know, actually do a good job. But it just solely depends on, like, how the person decides to act. If they decide not to be dicks, you get to stay and eventually get promotions. If you decide to be a dick, you get removed.
Okay.
Sounds like a common sense
Very
thing.
common sense, and I think
That's
there's a
literally
lot
one of our
of
rules is use common sense.
there's a lot of clans. I think not. I don't know if any of the clans we've had on already are like this. I assume that they're not. I get the sense that they're not, but there are, I know, a lot of clans that I've talked to out there who are like, we are going to enforce the strictest and most enlightened rules ever, and they just don't. like they just don't. People with their tags make fools of themselves.
Oh, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. So I believe I see with my own eyes, which is why I believe. We have the guest, Mr. Chris, in our VC. Would you like to say hello, Mr. Chris Iron?
Hello.
Hello. Chris is the leader of the House of Iron. And for, I guess, sake of time and brevity, we won't run through all the questions, but did you take a look at the list of questions? And is there any that you'd like to answer or give your thoughts on or anything like that?
For now, just for sake of time, nothing for now. Other than we're here to House of Iron is here to game. We're here to have fun. I think the community is a very interesting one, and I think what we got here is one of a kind, especially for Imperium and House of Iron. Like we're a very role play based group, and we like to have fun.
True. I'm very glad to see that we now have like 3 different like alliance connections. We had the Triarchy, we had Jado, and now we have this Knights of the Verdant Flame, right? Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I especially like how the NA community and the EU community are interacting on such a deep level. We'll have to, in the next, maybe not next episode, but the episode where you come back on, Chris, or both of you come back on at the same time, we can talk about more of Chris's interactions and the NA specific side of it. I think, Chris, I assume you're NA, right? Like your clan is fully NA.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah,
we're fully
I would love
NA.
to hear about the transatlantic interactions that we're having, the community building that we're doing, not just within America, but across the seas.
Of course.
I was very glad to have FMGK as the second episode. His voice is very soothing, and we have so many different cultures. I was saying before you got on here, we have so many different like cultures and styles of leadership and community and stuff like that that I have very intense respect for how we are able to get everyone in the same server at the same time, play the same game, go for the same objective, and it's all good. It's all very moving, and people make content for it. People log on every day, so it's very impactful.
Yes, and
I wanted
it's very
at
interesting.
least, if nothing else, Chris, I wanted if to see if you could give your answer to the last question of what advice would you give to like new players, average players, and the fellow clan leaders.
Well, to the new players, personally, my advice would be, it's an interesting game. It's an interesting concept. You're gonna make a lot of friends here, as well. You're gonna make a lot of enemies. There's all different kinds of people you're gonna meet here. To the other clans, you know, I've always had a good repertoire with everybody, but as I've always said, I think this is a tried and true message. If you mess around, you're gonna find out very fast. Like, nobody likes taking BS. Nobody likes taking anybody that's overconfident. So you keep messing around, you're gonna find out, and hard. And that's a kind of a thing that House of Iron stands for.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And without any prompting, no question to lead the way. Also, firstly, for the people in the audience, if you have any last final questions for the panel, please ask. You have about 5 minutes before we skip you. Besides that, if anyone will give their final thoughts, their I don't know, goodbye messages or whatever last things they want to say before we cut the stream.
So I thought this would be some interesting news. We have possibly this is going in the works right now. A possible hardcore server coming up soon.
I think I've already talked about what you're talking about.
Hardcore. What? Can you explain
I
hardcore?
wasn't here. So I believe Imperium. I didn't know this. Imperium talked about it already.
Bound?
Yes.
I already thought. Yeah, it got mentioned earlier.
You can give us some more details about it if you
So
like.
it's essentially just a text-based type of hardcore RP. There'd be no like verbal talking. It'll help just enhance having the aspect of doing the role play, because it seems like verbal conversation is good, but it seems like people have true interactions with text.
Okay. That's very interesting. Yes, I will definitely look forward to checking it out, if nothing else, and seeing what it's about. Seeing if people should spend some time there.
Yeah, and we'll have possibly a new map that nobody has seen before, plus dedication and some interesting rules.
Mm.
And it's
Like
an
one of the
interesting way
fun,
to grow.
like one of the fun bits about it is there's no limit on how much land a clan can have, but it's more of can you defend it?
Oh yeah, that's
As
that's
the way it works.
that's what I always wanted to see. Because what's the point? I always thought I like the way you guys are thinking. Because I always thought, what's the point of having it so that you can only have one castle? Like, what are you gonna do? Just sit on one castle?
Because as well, the way it's designed is wars don't just last like the persistent style wars last an hour or two, at most a couple. The wars are hopefully designed on here to have weeks of build up, you know, small petty squabbles like small arguments between clan leaders, and going from that to small border skirmishes, all the way up to then weeks of full scale warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Your
wars won't
That
just last a
sounds-
day or two. It is meant to be weeks of war. The way it's done as well. You can't, not everyone, obviously in real life, a medieval army wouldn't just be everyone having plate mail. Only certain members of groups are allowed your plate mail, so like your leadership, that's allowed plate mail, but then you go down to your standard soldiers, they get chain mail and that. Then you go down to your levies, so people that act as farmers and that, you can temporarily conscript them from their usual jobs to then use in your army. But obviously you cannot keep them always conscripted, and losing them, you lose industrial power, etc. And it just adds more depth to it. And it's also more of the fact of, if you fuck about too much and you lose half your army, you lose half your industrial power as well. So like, it makes people actually want to care about their men as well, and not just mindlessly throw them.
True.
Because losing professional soldiers, you lose their gear as well as that soldier. And then you have to train new ones, because it's going to have a stat system as
I
well.
was about to ask, will there be like a level up system?
Yes.
Where you,
And classes as well.
That's
something
currently
there.
still in the works. That's still in
Yeah.
the works. We're not 100%.
Most of the
There's no
stuff we talk
guarantees.
about-
There's no guarantees, but we do know is there's going to be a kind of progression system. Nobody's going to start. Of course, we're going to have some people that are going to be like head admins that are going to promote growth and stuff, but nobody's starting out as like a top tier blacksmith. Nobody's going to be able to make plate armor the same day. It's going to be growth. It's supposed to promote a positive atmosphere to help change what we have now in the current PE and persistent empires and persistent banner lord settings that we have now.
are you the ones working on this mod, or is it someone else?
It is some of the people that we know. We have a mapper that's in our group that is actually building the map. We have people who are handling the programming. We're not the ones that are actually handling any of that, but it's another group, which of course we want to keep names confidential for now because they're still working.
We don't have to say any names now.
I want to give them all the credit when they actually appear.
Yeah. We're just two of the clans that are going to be playing on the day one, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Because another thing is, there's limited roles, if that makes sense. Like, there's some hard, like, I don't know, by the way, take names of what we say with a grain of salt. It could not get implemented. But
yes,
certain things
it's all in the testing. It's all being tested out and tried before it's fully. But of course, we're hoping to see a good growth. We're hoping to get people in, do some testing on it, do some map changes, and go from there. It'll be like beta testing of the sorts to make sure it all works out.
Yeah, that's good. So to some of the people, some of the audience did actually give questions, which we thank them for, and we will answer them now. Can we have a shout out for Jato? Which was a statement, not a question, because it didn't have a question mark. But then he asked the question, can we have a shout out for Jato? Very passionate question. I would like to shout out Jato. We love those guys. Jom, don't know much about them, but I've talked to their leader. He's a good dude. I know that they are very good friends. Kind of small units, each of those, but very close knit. And so they have a lot of potential. And the fact that they're working together is fantastic, especially for a thing like PB. I love how Taw does a lot of like community stuff constantly planning community things, constantly in their own VCs, playing games, either Bannerlord or other things. NATO recently met their leader, talked with them. A great conversation, one of the most fulfilling conversations I've actually had with a Bannerlord clan leader. So great guys all around.
We're actually good friends with them as well. Funny enough.
That's it's great. Yeah, those are good people to be friends with.
Yeah, you'll be actually seeing us with them on Persistent Empires map change. We'll be running with them.
Ah.
Yeah, well, very good.
Hmm?
Warband,
Yeah, they're a
Imperium.
great group.
Are y'all familiar with JTO or any of the clans that make up JTO?
I've talked with Warboss, and mainly just due to there was a bunch of stuff with one of the guys completely ignoring a non-aggression pact, and so we had a very long conversation about getting their people to listen, and that was really the only interaction I've had with them.
I guess every place has its misunderstandings, definitely, especially in games where the point is to be in conflict. Warband, are you familiar? We've had Taw, the leader of Taw, on the show, but not the other two. I'll try to see if I can get NATO or Jom for the next episode.
Oh, that'd be a great band. They're a great bunch.
They are.
I haven't spoken with the leader of Jom before, but we've heard them mentioned, I think, by more than one person.
Indeed. So we also have Sugar Skies. Thank you for watching, by the way. You've been here for a while, I see. What and how did you hear about the House of Iron and KOSL? Believe it or not, as a new-ish Bannerlord multiplayer player, I've not heard too much about other clans, which is why I started doing this kind of series. So I really just hopped into the various servers from the Order of Whispers that Amelstead started. So he had a Discord channel with a bunch of links to the other servers, and I just hopped in all of them and DM'd whoever I could find that was most likely to be the leader. And eventually I got in touch with both of them, and yeah, now we're here. But as far as what I've heard about them, I've not heard too much about them.
I don't know if the Order of Whispers is it public or is it?
Yes, Order of Whispers is a public server. It's intended to basically
Maybe you
just
should, yeah.
It's
Maybe you should, since we're sort of part of that server, do you want to maybe send the link out?
Yeah, the link to the Order of Whispers server is in the description. I should probably put that on the page, the display video with all the other links. But the Order of Whispers server link is in the description. It's Bannerlord related. All the events that happen, or messages, or information, or I don't know, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of plans to be a kind of a library for public NA Bannerlord stuff. So that's what that's for. And that is where I found all of the clans. So if we are telling you to, like, hey, talk to this guy, I'm guilty of that, where I'm like, oh, can you get us in contact? I'm kind of lazy. If you're looking for someone of a particular clan, you could probably find them if they would like to be found from the Order of Whispers server. That's my understanding of it.
So just to summarize, the link is in the description of the video if you want to join the server.
Indeed. So with all of those things said, I think we've answered the questions to a sufficient amount. If there are any others, you can toss them in there. Any last final words from any of you?
It was thank you again. I'm sorry I missed out for today.
That's okay. It gives us an extra episode for later.
But it was a pleasure having you guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure again for being on.
It's a pleasure having you. Thank you for coming. Imperium?
Thanks so much for coming out, guys.
It was definitely nice being here.
Very good.
And
very good.
I'm always happy to hear about these new projects that are happening. Our show is great because we always have all of these exciting multiplayer projects that nobody knows about that get announced on the show. Like, I never heard of any of the stuff, and so I'm really grateful to be the first person to hear about this stuff, or maybe not the first, but sometimes like it's a good source of information for everyone. So make sure to share the channel and everything with everyone you know so that people can get the important Bannerlord news quickly and efficiently.
All right. Well, with that, we have one last message from Sugar Skies, which says, "One more thing about Bannerbound. It looks like it will soon be opened in about 2 to 3 weeks." So that is the show, episode 6 of Banners of North America. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you will get a lot from this. Uh, and goodbye. Love you. See you later.